Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Shrinavatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantastohya bhadrani vidhunoti suritsatam nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text 38. Paradevata prasadadi gatatma pratyavamarshye nanu pravertebhyah putrebhya imam yathadayam vibhajya bhukta bhogam cha mahishim mratkamiv sah mahavibhuti pahaya swayam nihita nirvedo hridi grahita hari viharana anubhavo bhagavato naradasya padvim punarevanusasara. Synonyms: Paradevata, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead; Prasada, by the mercy; Adhigata, obtained; Atma Pratyavamarasena, by self-realization; Anuprava Vritabhya, who exactly follow his path; Putrebhya, unto his sons; Imam, this earth; Yatha Dayam, exactly according to inheritance; Vibhajya, dividing; Bhukta Bhogam, whom he enjoyed in so many ways; Cha, also; Mahishim, the queen; Mratakam Iva, exactly like a dead body; Saha, with; Mahavibhutim, great opulence; Apahaya, giving up; Swayam, himself; Nihita, perfectly taken to; Nirveda, renunciation; Hridi, in the heart; Grahita, accepted; Hari, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead; Vihara, pastimes; Anubhavaha, in such an attitude; Bhagavata, of the great saintly person; Naradasya, of Saint Narada; Padvim, position; Punah, again; Eva, certainly; Anusasara, began to follow. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaja Priyavrata reawakened to his senses. He divided all his earthly possessions among his obedient sons. He gave up everything, including his wife, with whom he had enjoyed so much sense gratification, and his great and opulent kingdom, and he completely renounced all attachment. His heart, having been cleansed, became a place of pastimes for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus he was able to return to the path of Krishna consciousness, spiritual life, and resume the position he had attained by the grace of the great Saint Narada. Purport: as enunciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shiksha Ashtaka, Cheto Darpan Marjanam Bhav Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. As soon as one's heart is cleansed, the blazing fire of material existence is immediately extinguished. Our hearts are meant for the pastime of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means that one should be fully Krishna conscious, thinking of Krishna as he himself advises, Manmana bhav bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. This should be our only business. One whose heart is not clean cannot think of the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord. But if one can again place the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his heart, he very easily becomes qualified to renounce material attachment. Mayavadi philosophers, yogis and jnanis try to give up this material world simply by saying, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. This world is false. There is no use of it. Let us take to Brahman. Such theoretical knowledge will not help us. If we believe that Brahman is the real truth, we have to place within our hearts the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, as Maharaj Ambrish did. Save mana Krishna pada ravindryo. One has to fix the lotus feet of the Lord within his heart. Then he gets the strength to be freed from material entanglement. Maharaja Priyavrata was able to give up his opulent kingdom, and he also gave up the association of his beautiful wife as if she were a dead body. However beautiful one's wife and however attractive her bodily features, one is no longer interested in her when her body is dead. We praise a beautiful woman for her body, but that same body, when bereft of a spirit soul, is no longer interesting to any lusty man. Maharaja Priyavrata was so strong by the grace of God that even though his beautiful wife was alive, he could give up her association exactly like one who is forced to give up the association of a dead wife. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagad isha kamaye mam janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhaktir ahetuki toi." O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. For one who desires to advance in spiritual life, attachment to material opulence and attachment to a beautiful wife are two great impediments. Such attachments are condemned even more than suicide. Therefore, anyone desiring to cross beyond material nescience must, by the grace of Krishna, be freed from the attachment to women and money. When Maharaj Priyavrata became completely free from these attachments, he could again peacefully follow the principles instructed by the great sage Narada. Text 39. Tasyaha va ete shloka priyavrat kritam karmako nu kuryadvineshwaram yo nemini merakarochayam ghanan saptavari varidhina. Synonyms: tasya, his; ha, va, certainly; ete, all these; slokaha, verses; priyavrata, by King Priyavrata; kritam, done; karma, activities; kaha, who; nu, then; kuryat, can execute; vina, without; ishwaram, the supreme personality of Godhead; yah, one who; nemi, of the rim of the wheels of his chariot; nimnehe, by the depressions; akroth, made; chayam, darkness; ghanan, dissipating; sapta, seven; varidhinha, oceans. Translation. There are many famous verses regarding Maharaj Priyavrata's activities. Purport: no one but Supreme Personality of Godhead could do that what Maharaj Priyavrata has done. Maharaj Priyavrata dissipated the darkness of night, and with the rims of his great chariot he excavated seven oceans. There are many excellent verses famous all over the world concerning the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata. He is so celebrated that his activities are compared to those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes a sincere servant and devotee of the Lord is also called Bhagwan. Sri Narada is called Bhagwan, and Lord Shiva and Vyasadeva are also sometimes called Bhagwan. This designation Bhagwan is sometimes conferred upon a pure devotee by the grace of the Lord, so that he will be very highly esteemed. Maharaj Priyavrata was such a devotee. Maharaj Priyavrata is expressing lamentation, and Srila Prabhupada is no, I'm sorry, this is the end of uh, purport. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to purify myself. I am going to read from a lecture given by His Grace Gauranga Prabhu. Please pardon me if I make any mistake in summarizing this. So, here we see that Maharaj Priyavrata is expressing lamentation, and Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that Priyavrata Maharaj received the mercy of Narada Muni so he could achieve the same renunciation again in due course of time that he had before he took up the uh, married life and affairs of the world. So the important thing to learn here is that there are two kinds of attitude uh, that can be seen. One attitude is favorable for the bhakti, that enhances the bhakti and the service attitude, and the other one is unfavorable. So to understand these two shlokas, we will go over the two attitudes. So if we look at the example for the favorable attitude, Kardama Muni is a great example. So Kardama Muni also was instructed by Lord Brahma to perform austerities. And in the end, Lord appears and orders him to marry Devahuti. And with Devahuti, Kardama Muni had many daughters, and then Lord Kapil Dev is born. So Lord Brahma, seeing the obedience of Kardama Muni, glorifies him in 3rd canto, 24th chapter, verse 12. So he says that, my dear son, you have completely accepted my instructions without duplicity, showing them proper respect. You have worshipped me properly. Whatever instructions you took from me, you have carried out, and thereby you have honored me. So we have to use this same attitude in our day-to-day life. So service attitude is the only way by which a conditioned soul can overcome cheating propensity. We need to follow the instructions sincerely, and then we can achieve perfection. So now the question is, how can we develop this attitude? So first order of business is that we need to follow the instructions with simplicity and respect. And we need to set aside our false ego, which is a great impediment. So for example, if a task is given to me when I am doing some service, I cannot pick and choose what I like and not do what I don't like. So that's what is meant by without duplicity. We have to do it, everything that is told to us, whether we like it or we don't like it. Second thing is without argument. So a son or disciple should accept the words of his spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and the spiritual master order should be taken without argument. So this is the way to develop the service attitude. Because arguments are generated from our intelligence, and one may offer difference of opinion, but ultimately must follow the orders given by the authorities or spiritual master. And the same intelligence which generates all these different arguments should be used to execute the instructions. And we have seen examples. I mean, Srila Prabhupada himself is the greatest example of how he followed the orders of his guru. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told him in the first meeting itself, you are an educated man, why don't you go and preach in West? And Srila Prabhupada ultimately followed the orders of his spiritual master and he found great success. Then similarly, one time during the morning walk, Srila Prabhupada told his disciples, at that time only 2 volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita had been published. So Srila Prabhupada said the remaining volumes should come out in next 2 months. So the disciples became astonished and they said, how Prabhupada? This is impossible. So Prabhupada said, you will do it. You will make it happen. And they were like, wow. So as soon as the morning walk got over, the disciples realized Prabhupada was serious and he really wanted this to be published in next 2 months. So they worked day and night to make it happen. And finally, when the published volume of Chaitanya Charitamrita was brought to Srila Prabhupada, he was very happy and he said, whoever was involved in publishing this will go back home, back to Godhead. So the third principle is to develop service attitude is that we have to do it without hesitation. The mind by nature is unsteady and one should just set aside the false ego and fix up the mind and engage in executing the plan. So 3 things: without duplicity, without argument, and without hesitation. If we follow these 3 things, then service attitude will develop. So this is the principle of spiritual education. One need not be highly educated or very skilled at things. All the knowledge is automatically revealed when we develop service attitude. One time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was walking in a garden and he came across a devotee who was a gardener, very simple gardener. He was an uneducated man. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked him, what tattva you have understood so far? So he started explaining him very nicely the philosophy, our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was very happy and he asked him, how did you learn all this? You can't even read. So he said, Guru Maharaj, I heard you. So I used to work in the garden and take care of job and also hear you speak. That's how I have learned. So he said, look how he found perfection in this service attitude. So he said that we should follow his example and learn from him. Similarly, we see that Rupa Goswami gave up everything on the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was an example of Tyaga. Then we also know Ramanand Roy, who was a minister and had all the opulence with which he served Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So externally we may think that he was in very opulent situation, he was in a situation of bhoga, but the reality is he was also serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So external circumstances may be whatever, but the ultimate goal should be to serve spiritual master and Lord very sincerely. So this is the philosophy we have to follow. Srila Prabhupada was giving, he was giving a class and he told his disciples that morning and evening are to learn philosophy. That's why we have classes in the morning and evening, and daytime is for service. So it's not that you have to just collect theoretical knowledge, you should also do practical service in the daytime, and this is how you get perfection. Now, as an example of offensive attitude, we can see the example of Sabri Muni. Sabri Muni had an offensive attitude and he cursed Garuda to not to come to Yamuna river because he was meditating inside and he developed affection for the fishes. So he did not want Garuda to eat the fishes. Now, Garuda is his superior. Garuda is senior to him and he is a devotee of Lord. So Sabri Muni was not in position to chastise his senior and curse him, but he did. That was his first offense. Second offense, he had the bad association. He was in association of these fish, so he developed attraction for them, and then he followed them. Uh, so he saw the fish mating, and then he wanted to follow them. So when you associate with somebody, you develop attraction for them, and then you have attachment, and then you follow their footsteps. So then Sabri Muni came out, and we know the story. He married many daughters of a king, and then he realized that he fell down, and then he had to come back. So, um, so we have to see that offensive mentality can cause fall down from such an exalted position that Sabri Muni had, right? So, uh, we have two examples of Kardama Muni and Shabri Muni, and we should know that the best one is to follow Kardama Muni and develop service attitude. In this way, we will be able to avoid the dangers of offensive attitude and get Krishna realization as